Hello, Levitical Kingdom Privateers. On September the 12th and 13th, we are hosting the first annual Holy Nation of the Ecclesia Conference. The theme is Threshold Covenant, with great worship brought to us by the Woodcock Singers, a great MC known as Plain Flyer 21, speakers like Dr. Mike Spalding, Jim Odell, Randy Conway, C2K Rick, and our keynote speaker, the world-renowned Vicky Joy Anderson. And don't miss a very special and world-altering Friday night event that will equip you for what is coming. Admission is free for our naturalized families and very affordable for our guests. Head over to c2kreport.com and scroll down on the homepage to find our link to purchase tickets for your friends and family. And remember, it's all about the blood.
There are many pictures about the Russian liberating Auschwitz, and there's never any snow. And the snow was honestly that high. Mm-hmm. And so I have some connection with the Russian embassy, and I was there once, and I said, something puzzles me. Those photos are fakes, because there's no snow. Mm-hmm. And they said, well, yes, they are not fakes, but when the army came, they didn't have cameras, they didn't photograph. Mm. So only much later, when they realized we should have pictures of it, they took pictures like you see now. But this is definitely not in Auschwitz and not the liberation of Auschwitz. There were not that many people with clothes and children and no snow.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another Privateers Volley. This is Rick Hidalgo, your host. And did you hear that? Did you hear the media basically wanting to question her? They didn't exactly know what question to ask, but they were like, So, what do you think of that? I mean, the narrative is that when the freedom fighters came in and, liberated the camp, that they had pictures. They took, they took pictures with their camera, and these were the actual pictures. And they had piles of cadavers over here, and they had, super skinny people that were malnourished, and they were on the verge of expiring. All these different narratives that are out there, and now we find out that because there was no snow in the pictures, it was an obvious fraud, and it was even pointed out by somebody related to Anne Frank, who was a fraud. Wow. Pretty strange how this all kind of works out. But, so they came back later and took pictures. When you come back later and take pictures and say that it was actually pictures that you took on Liberation Day, that's called a lie. And it's called fraud, and it's organized fraud, and it's organized in such a way as to try to impose a narrative that advantages one group of people over another. So when you do that kind of thing, you have to start questioning everything. Mustache Man, you got to question, everything all along the way, all the things that were considered propaganda that maybe weren't propaganda. Or how about the things that were considered true that maybe were propaganda? I mean, we have a lot to think about here. When you begin to understand that there were positions taken, and there is an official narrative that literally was debunked by one of Anne Frank's relatives. And Anne Frank herself was a fraud. The book, the diary, it was no diary of a little girl hiding from mustache guy. No. It was written much later by a propagandist, a known propagandist. You can go read about that. You can actually find that on the internet. You have to go to Internet Archives to do it. You gotta go to archives.org or .gov, whatever it is, and look up, look up some stuff. Type in Anne Frank, and there'll be some videos, and you can find that one. But wow. So what do you think? Leave something in the comments. Let me know what you think, because you know what? I know what I think. I know what I think. I think there was a lot of propaganda, and I believe that there is a narrative that we have yet to hear. And somewhere in the middle. It's not what we hear from American textbooks. It's not what we hear from books that were being written during World War II over on the German side. It's somewhere in the middle. And maybe the one who is persecuted the most is the one that should be listened to the most. And you can find a lot of people that got persecuted for saying that some things were hogwash that the whole world says is not. With that, thanks for watching this Privateer's Volley. I hope that you liked it. If you didn't, I'm sorry, I can't bat 1,000, but everything we do here at Privateer's Volley, it's all about the blood. See you next time.